We are now going to go and say a very good morning here to the honorable member for Lake Melville, Keith Russell. Good morning.
How are you, Randy?
Good, sir. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Just listening to the show again as always, and thought I'd call and, offer a little perspective on Muskrat Falls again.
Well, it's kind of going to be right in your lap, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Right
in our backyard.
It's in your backyard.
Yes, absolutely.
How far is the falls actually from, let's say, Happy Valley?
About 25 kilometers.
About 25 kilometers. So so it's kind of like Mount Pearl and Holyrood.
Yes, pretty much, I guess.
Wow, that's really close.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at, if you compare the Upper Churchill, though, Randy, I mean, I forget what they had there. I think it was like 6,500 square kilometers in terms of the footprint, the flooded area, if you will.
Yeah.
I mean, Muskrat, it's in and of itself is only going to be 41.
Still a big footprint.
Well, still.
But then again, if you were doing the Lower Churchill, if you were doing all of it, what would the footprint be?
I believe it's Gull would even only be probably another 80 square kilometers as well.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, so, but we don't appreciate the magnitude or the size of these things, do we? When we talk about like a development 80 kilometers, I mean that's huge.
Yes, but I mean imagine now the Smallwood Reservoir in relation to Upper Churchill. I mean the comparison is staggering in terms of 6,500 square kilometers as opposed to 120 or 125 or whatever it would be for Lower Churchill.
Yeah, you're backing up a lot of water, aren't you?
Oh, you certainly are. I mean, I heard some of your callers come in this morning there and talk a bit about the environmental side too. And I mean, I think annually, I think with the million tons that we take out of the atmosphere, there, I think that equates to, or is the equivalent of about 300,000 cars off the road annually. Mm-hmm. And now, if we were to look at that over the next, I don't know, looking into the future, past 2041, when our rights to Upper Churchill revert back, I mean, we're talking, probably in the next 50 years, probably 100 million tons of emissions taken out of our atmosphere. With that coupled with the fact that 98% of our entire our entire electrical system would all be on a renewable resource then. It would, I mean, in perpetuity. I mean, that in and of itself is something to be seriously looked at and considered in this project too.
These would be classified as positive outcomes, obviously. Let me ask you this. What do you think the central question to be debated in the House when the debate comes about? What should that central question be?
The central question, I think, is going to be surrounding the need for the power. And I think it's justified that we will need this. And from a Labrador perspective, Randy, I mean, we have Alderon out in Lab West. We've got the expansions in IOC. We've got Paladin up near Postville with the uranium finds. We've got Valley looking to go underground, hopefully. I mean, those things just do not happen in the short term without Lower Churchill. Mm-hmm. That's the big one. If you think about the prosperity that's going to come from just Muskrat in and of itself, I mean, we all know the numbers. We're talking about 2,700 jobs at peak. We're talking about $450 million in income to Labradorians and to Labrador-based businesses dropped right here. That's just the Muskrat part. Now, you think about all the other things we can facilitate with that power in Labrador too. That is prosperity. And what you see, Randy, is, I mean, not only the jobs, not only the economic spin-off that comes in our communities, but you're also, as these projects, you're going to see the development of new roads. You're going to see new infrastructure. You're going to see, hopefully down the road, you're going to see those hydro lines going north and south, hopefully, to those smaller communities that right now are not economically feasible to put power lines into those communities. So we're going to see a lot of benefits.
So was Kennedy lying then when he talked about this originally, and he talked about rolling blackouts across the island and people having to freeze in the dark, and if we don't get energy to this island, you got to realize everything you just talked about, this investment in Labrador and everything, as real as all that is, and the driving force behind the development of Muskrat had nothing to do with mining in Labrador.
Yes, but I think that is a reality.
I think it's become a late argument. I'm not saying it's not a valid.
No. But
it's late to the dance.
In the winter, at peak demand, if we simply don't do anything, And there is the potential to either have restrictions put on commercial and residential users, or to experience those blackouts, which are which could be downright dangerous in some situations, for sure.
Had Muskrat not been there, had that opportunity for this particular development not been there, would all these iron ore companies and that simply leave town, you mean?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I mean, you would have to, I guess, their margins, of course, would be decreased by having to buy power from Quebec. It's as simple as that. They in certain cases,
well, they got to buy power from somebody.
Yeah, I guess the projects would not, in some cases, may not be feasible. I mean, without the power. So you may have people that are examining, and they're prospecting, they're looking, they're staking these claims, they're doing their analysis, and then when it comes down to the power aspect, they may not. The decision may be a no-go based on that and that alone.
Why wouldn't we debate this? All right. Again, I'm looking for the central question to be debated. Mm-hmm. Right. And, a lot of people are saying we're going to debate the cost. Right. That's what we're going to debate. We're going to debate, if not Muskrat, then what? Okay. I got all of that.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we have done this? Okay. And said, you know what? In 2041, we're going to have all the energy we can handle. But we're going to own it. Ours. No sweat. No issues about recall. We got it. Why wouldn't we put a strategy in place that bridges us to that point? And wouldn't that strategy be a lot cheaper than, say, the $6.2 billion? Wouldn't the strategy have been, you know what? We're going to keep Holyrood. We're going to spend $600 million on upgrading it. We're going to see to it that what's coming out of the end of the pipe at Holyrood is as environmentally sound and friendly as everything else that's going on in the world, including the people who are proposing. Why not? Why not?
I don't think, in terms of the environmentally sound part of it, no, that certainly wouldn't be the case.
Why not? Why not? If you could generate energy from Holyrood, and the environmental piece was less of an environmental footprint, it was providing less of an environmental impact than what's happening with plants that are burning natural gas to generate energy, or it was equivalent to that, which everybody, even in the environmental industries, are saying that's the greatest thing on earth. If there's a threat to our selling hydro, it's the natural gas industry. So why not? Why wouldn't we do that and say...
We come back to that same point. It's the opportunity cost with the development in Labrador, and it comes down to, the access that we're going to have to Nova Scotia, to New Brunswick, to the States, through this development.
But why would I build it for...
They're very progressive.
But why would I build it for the mining companies? If that's the case, and if what you're saying is right, and I can't disagree with you on it,
no, Randy,
why wouldn't the mining companies be paying?
I tell you what, now mining companies aside too, this is still one of the I guess top central questions that we're going to see when we get back into the House as well. Now, one of your previous callers, and I can't remember his name, he put it best. He said we're over a barrel. And he said over an
oil barrel.
An oil barrel, and that's exactly right. Because staying the course, and like you said, refurbishing Holyrood and all that does is it leaves us to the whim of certain, I guess, circumstances and happenings, if you will, in the oil industry across the world. There could be, everything from a war to an accident to everything, oil volatility in terms of the prices. We're still at the whim of the oil industry. That doesn't change. And the whole concept behind...
Isn't it ironic that you say that, and I accept what you say as the truth, but do you not, just as an observation, find it ironic that reality exists when we happen to be one of the world's producers of oil?
Certainly, yes. And
the irony cannot be lost on us.
No, it certainly can't. But the bottom line here is, if you and somebody was talking about the rates and about putting in a stable rate or whatever like that. Over the last, since say 2000, the rates have been they've gone up continuously, and you don't hear too much about it. You hear the odd person calling in and complaining, but That's scheduled to go up as well, with or without Muskrat Falls going forward. Muskrat Falls gives us a measure of control, Randy, that allows us to be able to control that.
I accept that piece of the argument. I do. And I you know, the cost of energy to everybody is going up whether there is Muskrat Falls, which makes that piece of the argument.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, a little bit moot. To be arguing, I don't want to see Muskrat Falls built because it's going to increase my light bill, is somewhat of a fallacy. Your light bill's increasing anyway, and I think people got to get over that. But when
I'm so glad you said that, Randy,
because that's
that
true.
That was the basis of the opposition's argument. You know, when we started discussing the concepts of Muskrat.
I don't buy that argument.
Doesn't hold water at all. You're right there.
But I, you know, when people challenge me with the question, if not Muskrat, then what? There's a dozen different whats. And an awful lot of them appear to cost even less, even though we're talking about, you know, this apparently this low cost option. If you achieve the lowest cost option, that's the justification for everything. And I'm not sure that it is. I'm not even sure we should be concerned with lowest cost.
I think we should do what's right.
We should be concerned with
vision for the province, Randy, that allows us to say, one, we're environmentally sound. We're going to be, you know, having a focus on renewable resources, and you know, that two, that says, okay, now we're going to make an investment. We're going to use the non-renewable resource revenue and make an investment in transforming this our economy and transforming the way that we supply our own users, and that is environmentally sound, and it's an investment. I mean, if you look at the project overall, not only will we be able to meet our debt, Randy, but we'll have a little left over.
Yeah, but Keith, again, see, there's another little, I'll call it a fallacy, all right? A little. We aren't using the non-renewable resource revenues to build Muskrat. We aren't using them to do that.
Well, I mean, we will have to service the debt.
Right? That's right. We're using my money to do that, not the oil companies. The oil companies' money is all being spent doing other good things. No argument there. But,
well, those good things are also a necessity.
Yeah, but you know, anyway, Keith, we got to run. This is I think it's going to be an interesting debate. 30 seconds. Final thought. Let you wrap up.
Final thought. All I'm saying here now is, I mean, we have to be, I believe the leadership from the Dunnerdale government is truly visionary in terms of what we need to do here. What we need to do is focus on the environment. We need to focus on further prosperity down the road by having access to power for Alderaan, Paladin, Valley, Inco, the IOC expansion. We need to let people know that we're serious about being environmentally sound in our decision, and we also have to know that we are looking out for the best interests of the people of the province.
You, sir, have a great day.
All right, take care.
That's the Honourable Member for Lake Melville, Keith Russell. It's going to be an interesting debate when they have it, right? It is.